Claire, sit down.
Shoot me if you're gonna shoot someone!
Shoot Claire now.
Shoot me! Now!
She is brave and humble, but also paranoid and apprehensive of her new and awe-inspiring superpowers. You'd think that being invulnerable would make Claire invincible. But that isn't always the case for the high school cheerleader from the Hero series. As they say, save the cheerleader, save the world. Check out this movie Spotlight's video, where we will share Claire's most awesome powers and why saving Claire is the key to saving the world. Be sure to stick around to find out her most incredible power at the end. If Claire chops off her toe, she grows one back. She drops.
Oh my...
She mends in minutes. No matter what you throw at Claire Bennett or where you throw her, she comes out unharmed and bounces back to life. Rapid cell regeneration and healing. Claire's cells have superhuman regenerative ability, allowing her to recover from practically any harm in a matter of seconds. She feels little pain from severe injuries such as burns and compound fractures, although she did grimace at her hand when she pulled it out from a running incinerator garbage disposal. Her healing powers are just like Wolverine. Only Claire is way more attractive with less hair and no claws. How did she get these powers? Growing up, Claire's father is Noah Bennett and works for a company who tracks down people with the gifts of superhuman powers. He took Claire in and watched her learn about her extraordinary healing abilities. I will let you in on the secret to who her real father is in a moment. Nothing shocks Claire anymore, as she is able to recover from a severely broken neck twisted awkwardly at 180 degrees after Claire was stunned and immobilized after the star quarterback collided with Claire during football practice. There seems to be absolutely no limits to her powers, and Claire even survived a nuclear explosion and the radiation fallout when nothing else can. Claire pushes herself to find her limits. Claire's attempts include fracturing every bone in her body, stabbing herself in the chest, and going so far as to insert a steel rod into her neck. After Claire's self-experiments to see how far she can push her regenerative abilities, pretty quickly Claire works out that her gifts were inherited. So this leads her to want to find her biological parents. You'd think Claire is invincible, but she does have one weakness. We find out when Claire's friend, Zach, films her climbing 80 feet to the top of a construction site and jumps off. She falls to the ground, incurring severe injuries as bones protrude from her body and she dislocates her shoulder. But then amazingly she gets up and walks away, healing super fast like Superman. But this only happens after Claire relocates her shoulder and pushes her bones back into her body, which we witness through her video cam, which films her as her cells rapidly regenerate and body heals. So one weakness that stops her from rapidly regenerating is any injuries where a foreign object gets embedded in her body, as this prevents her cells from regenerating. Claire is also vulnerable as we see Claire at a football game bonfire after party. Claire and football player Brody wander off to neighboring bleachers. When things become too much for Claire, she tries to stop him, but Brody tries to force himself on her. As she attempts to shove him off her and flee, she is knocked down on a pile of wood, and a branch impales her through the back of her neck into her skull, killing her. Has Claire reached her limits, and does a brain injury mean she can no longer heal? We find out as we next see Claire on the autopsy table, and her eyes are grayed out. Claire is pronounced dead. The teenage cheerleader girl seems to have been the victim of a, perhaps accidental, homicide, according to the coroner. Later on we see a medical examiner removing the branch, and her eyes return to their normal hue as she struggles and coughs for air. Looking around, she realizes the gravity of the situation. She is in a morgue on an autopsy table, and her body has been sliced open, exposing her entire chest and rib cage for examination. Claire's body begins to once again rapidly heal. When the coroner leaves the room for a moment, Claire sits up, gets off the autopsy table, steals a lab coat from the cupboard and escapes. It's not surprising that with these powers,
with great power comes great responsibility.
And no, she's not Spider-Man, but like Peter Parker, she tries to keep her superpowers a secret. As a high school cheerleader, the last thing she wants is to be called a freak by her friends. Just like when Claire sticks up for a girl being taunted by mean head cheerleader Debbie, who challenges Claire to attempt to backtuck off the tower. Claire climbs the tower wanting to show off, but remembers her father Noah's warnings against standing out and being called a freak. so she tells everyone she can't do it. But after everyone has left, she does the back tuck and appears to have broken a leg when she lands on the bare floor. Suddenly, Claire's friend, a cute boy at school West, enters the room as Claire rapidly heals from her injuries, praying he didn't see what happened or think she's a freak. But it looks like her secret is safe for now: everlasting sobriety. This doesn't stop Claire from having fun at school. After all, no matter how much she tries to intoxicate herself with shots of liquor, so she can outdrink absolutely anyone, which is a handy superpower in itself, with Claire's body being able to effectively heal from anything. This isn't limited to diseases. It also means Claire never gets drunk. She participates in a drinking challenge to raise money. Even though she consumes more than 20 shots, she shows no signs of intoxication, but she pretends to be drunk in order to keep her abilities secret. This is because Claire's tissue regeneration extends also to all of her organs, including her liver, which appear to be capable of self-healing. Evolved parents. In the search for her parents, Claire discovers she is the daughter of Nathan Petrelli, who can fly like Superman, and Meredith Gordon, who has pyrokinesis powers. It seems her advanced superhuman powers were the result of two highly evolved humans. What is also amazing about this is because it's through her genetics, her power might just live in her healing blood. Through the company that No works at, it's thought that perhaps if Claire's blood is injected into another person, it might temporarily give that person the power to heal, even if that person has been dead for some time. One of Claire's fellow heroes, Tirama Kimura, who can teleport and time travel, is later found to have a terminal brain tumor. But Claire's powers were unable to save him, as it was found that injecting her blood will increase the rapid cell reproduction and accelerate the growth of the tumor as it's a living tissue. Claire has been shown to regenerate small extremities. She experiments with the limits of her powers, cutting off her toe to see how it grows back. Claire is astonished that she can regrow a body part, even after it has been completely severed. Do you think it's possible for Claire to survive her brain being sliced open while staying awake? Claire's powers are all-encompassing, as we will indeed see in a moment, as all of the heroes in the story try to save the cheerleader to save the world. Do they save Claire and stop Sylar from copying her powers? Immortality. Isaac Mendez, an artist who can paint and see the future, painted a cheerleader's corpse lying dead at the feet of a dark figure, her head sawed open and her brain extracted, in which her brain was removed from her body. We all wondered if the victim might be Claire, and if the injury was fatal. We watch what happens when time traveler hero goes 5 years into the future and witnesses a future Sylar, the antagonist in the Heroes series, detonating himself as a nuclear explosion destroys New York and kills millions. Why is this important? Sylar aggressively pursues superpowered humans and collects their evolved abilities. So by saving Claire, we are saving the cheerleader and saving the world. Claire would be the only one to be able to kill Sylar, who causes a nuclear explosion and prevents Sylar from copying her power. After all, Claire is the only one able to survive a nuclear explosion and the radiation falling out, when practically nothing else on Earth can. For this reason, Claire's powers are one of the most sought after on Sylar's hit list, and he reveals to Claire why in a moment. We see Sylar telekinetically slicing with his finger. Claire's skull open as Sylar's ability, called intuitive aptitude, allows him to understand how things work, so he is able to copy Claire's regenerative healing ability just by seeing how it works. Sylar does this by removing the top of Claire's head and looking at the workings of her brain. So in Claire's unique case, he can steal her ability without killing her in a twist. Any other evolved human would suffer the fate of death being subject to such brutality. But Claire's exposed skull and scalp begin to recover as soon as Sylar repositions a portion of her skull where it belongs, which even surprises Claire, as she questions Sylar why she is still alive. It is revealed that Claire can never die, and neither can Sylar now. And in this twist, this is what saves the world. For the movie Spotlight's pick of Claire's most awesome power, be sure to subscribe to see more superhuman powers. So lastly, through all of the tests of Claire's regeneration powers, something has changed her forever, all because of Sylar. But let me explain. We said earlier that Claire feels almost no pain, given Claire survives most injuries and heals. Paired with this, she also has an incredible pain tolerance, which is lucky for her Otherwise, she would suffer considerable pain each time she is mortally wounded and severely injured. After all, we have seen Claire being shot, twisted, bones broken, and more. Not that she doesn't feel pain at all, she just manages to recover from it fairly quickly, as her abilities wipe out the pain fast, because she heals so rapidly. One change for Claire is that after Sylar opened and exposed her brain for removal, she no longer feels any physical pain of any kind. Claire no longer has to suffer. If you want to see more superhuman abilities, check out this video where you can see the top superhuman abilities